if you're ever in San Francisco, make sure that you book the Alcatraz cruise out of Pier 33 down on the wharf. You won't be go wrong with that. It's an excellent cruise, excellent information. I think our price was $37.65 plus tax for the senior discount. And be sure to book early. Ours was 2 days out. They're all pretty full going over, so you have to book early to get a good boat over. But coming back, you can come back on any boat they have coming back. You won't go wrong. It's an excellent cruise. Once you get to the island, for those of you like me who have a little trouble going up fairly steep hills, they do have a trolley that'll meet you on the dock right after you get off the boat and have your little speech there, and it'll take you to the top where the cells are. Take it. Coming down wasn't too bad, but going up, I needed to take that. Also, when you get there, they have an audio tour that is excellent. Everybody gets their own audio set, and you can go at your own pace, start and stop as you want. And it's excellent information on the tour, all over the general history of the island. I also have a little movie you can see either before or afterwards. It gives you a little bit of a history. But be sure to take the audio tour. And also, in one of the areas, there is an elevator that goes from the cafeteria down to the remaining floor there. So if you have any trouble walking, no problem. He said of the 14 attempted federal prison escapes, the best occurred in June 1962 when Frank Morse and brothers John and Clarence Anglin slipped into the water. They used raincoats as flotation devices and were presumably bound for San Francisco. Although their bodies were never found, they were assumed to be half drowned, although there have been lately instances and information that possibly one or more of them survived. It's interesting, they have the cell set up of when they left, and they had dummy heads made out of paper mache that they put in their bunks, and they went through a hole in the vent and escaped through the utility rooms. It was pretty clever that they did that. There's a sign over the door when you enter, and the warden would also tell the inmates, you are entitled to food, clothing, shelter, and medical attention. Anything else you get is a privilege. It's also interesting that the lighthouse on there that was established in 1854 was the first lighthouse on the Pacific coast, and it was on Alcatraz. Now, there are some little tidbits about some of the inmates here that I didn't realize. Now, Robert Stroud, who is the Birdman of Alcatraz, he actually had no birds on Alcatraz. He got his reputation, his name, from the canaries he kept at Leavenworth Penitentiary when he was there. But he went to Alcatraz, he had no birds. His real nickname was the Bird Doctor of Leavenworth. Now, Alcatraz was a federal prison only from 1934 until 1963, when U.S. Attorney General Robert Kennedy ordered it closed. He said there was the cell house was never filled to capacity. The average number of prisoners was 260, and the maximum was 302. There were 336 remodeled single-man cells available that they used. And there were no executions on Alcatraz, although there were 5 suicides and 8 murders. An interesting tidbit on the gardens that they had there that were tended by the wives of the guards and the warden, who had a big rose garden there, is that in the 70s they found a rose called the Welsh rose, which was considered extinct, and they found it growing on Alcatraz Island. It's the only place in the world where this rose grows in the wild. Now they've taken cuttings and sent them back to Wales and other places to have them probably in special gardens, but Alcatraz is the only place that grows wild, and I have a picture of it at the end of this video. They always tell you, oh, you can't escape because of the water's rough current and the sharks swimming in the water there. Well, they said now the sharks that swim in San Francisco Bay and around the island are not man-eaters. They're sand sharks, are usually the most common. So, take a chance. I think one of the hardest things of being a prisoner on there was being able to look out and see San Francisco and the Bay Area in the distance there. So close and yet so far. And they said on certain days, with the wind was blowing the right way, they could hear and smell the celebrations going on in San Francisco, different smells of food and the noise from people having a party there. So that would be kind of tough to take. Now, another famous inmate was Al Capone, as everybody knows. He was in Alcatraz for about 4 years. When he first entered the prison system, he was riddled with gonorrhea and syphilis, and it was already taking his health. Matter of fact, the last year in Alcatraz, he spent in the infirmary cell. When he was released, about a year later, another doctor had diagnosed him and said that he had the brain of a 12-year-old, so it took a big toll on him. Now, this is the shower area where they would take showers, and as you can see, it's all open, so there was no privacy in there, and oops, don't pick up the soap. One other bit of information that I forgot to tell you is that they said the cafeteria, of all places, was the most dangerous room in the prison. And that's because all the prisoners had a chance to have forks, knives, and metal spoons. So it was, watch careful when you eat. When Alcatraz was just an island, it was just a piece of sandstone sitting out in the middle of the bay. When they decided to develop it, everything on the island had to be brought in by barge. The dirt, flowers, everything on there. There are no native animals or plants that are native to that island. It was all brought in by the people that lived on the island, and the wives took care of the gardens. They have a nice botanical garden now, but at the time there was nothing on there, so it was all man-made. There's a lot of information about Alcatraz, but I'm not going to spare you the information at this time, because then you don't want to take the tour. So if you get a chance, by all means, take the tour, get all the information you can on it, and I'll just let the pictures run out. You can stop them at any time, read the signs, and find out what was going on. But it is a very interesting tour, and I'm glad that we got a chance to take it. Okay, they always said that the penitentiary food is lousy. Well, Alcatraz had the best food in the penal system. It was so good that even the guards and all the employees ate there. So at least they had good food.